Good evening, Barbados. Good evening, Caribbean. Good evening, the world. You are watching the Marcia Week Show, and we are coming to you live from Barbados. Yes, family. We are here again. We are here again tonight, and oh my goodness, we are ready. We are ready. Give me thumbs up if you're ready. If you are ready for a change. Who ready for a change of government? Anybody watching ready for a change of government? Anybody watching tired of corruption? Where is the money? We want to know where is the $84.6 million? Where are we $84.6 million? Listen, we are ready. If you are ready for a change, give me thumbs up. Huh? Listen, we are tired. It was a $60 million for the Hope. Huh? The whole project. And now $84.6 million for sewage. We can't wait for KEMAR to come on. Y'all need to tell KEMAR, KEMAR, hurry up and come on. Come on, because I'm telling you, we are ready for a change. I don't know about you, but I'm ready. I'm feeling it. Change is here. Change is here. Oh man, I started now real strong tonight. Welcome. But let me tell you, we are tired of asking where is the money. We are tired of asking where is the money. They are borrowing money in our name, people. Traveling overseas and getting money in our name. And then what happens? We don't know where it is. We don't know where it is. Anybody fed up? I am tired and we're just talking. We just talking. No. And that's why they're bringing the CyberCrime Bill to shut us up. So we don't talk. Vernon, welcome, Vernon. Good evening. Loyal opposition, we're together again. Yes, we are together again to do business. Let me tell you something. We're not on here to bring gossip and to laugh at things. And this is not brass tacks. This is not you just calling in because you're complaining. You see the different projects that we're doing. You see how people are getting help. You see the education programs that we are launching. You see that we're ready to go into the communities. You see that? This is this show you see here, and all of us who come on here, this is not your average little show that we come on and we're just complaining. Those days are done. We need this administration to know that we are people of action, and we are pushing, and we're pushing at that door, and we're pushing at that door, and it is going to tumble down. And our numbers are growing. Yes. And I just want to say those, Vernon, Lucinda, Aline, how you doing? Good evening. FX Trading, how are you doing? Good evening. Judy Jilks, good evening. Good evening, Bajan Boy. Good evening. Good evening, Clive Osborne. Good evening. We're people of change. Anybody on here? If you're, I listen, you might be watching me in your bed at this time, relaxing. But I want you to get your spirit to attention. Because this is not no entertainment going on here. This is about our lives. This is what we're living. We are living in this whole mess of mismanagement of money, of funds. That's what we live. We live in a country where we cannot get any accountability about the money that is spent. The money that is borrowed in our name and in our children's name. How is that entertainment? We're living in a country where young people are scared to go on the road. We are scared to go on the road. Every time you're looking back, your shoulder. I used to be able to feel comfortable sitting in the car park waiting on my husband to come. All of a sudden, I don't want to sit in the car by myself anymore. Huh? This is our reality, and you think this is entertainment. We are about action. We are about action. And so I want to commend that loyal son who went and researched all 30 names and emails of the parliamentarians and wrote to them today. Yes, somebody who was watching the show last night sent me a letter this morning, and he went and researched all 30 names because we didn't have everything ready yet. And he sent off his letter. That is what we need. And if we all bombard them with letters, people, the same way they bombard our homes when they wanted the votes. Right, CG? Good evening, CG. Marcia, the same way. Good evening, Marcia, Queen B, Jefferson Sobers, the same way they bombard us when they want votes. Bombard them. One thing we know, we can spell and write. We can write and we can spell. After all, this is Barbados. Yes, the education system, we're going to talk about that a little later, is not what it used to be. But a lot of us still can write and spell. Bombard them. Bombard them with emails. Put the pressure on them. Yeah? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. They're the ones that need to be afraid. Let them know they are the ones that need to be afraid. All 29 of them, they need to be afraid, not you. Don't let them push you in a corner and you start being afraid. Afraid of what? They need to be afraid because they know. What is it they know? They know that when that election day comes, anything can play. Don't be afraid. You say, I don't want to send it from my email. What they can do to you? What are they going to do to you? You know, be respectful as you write the letter, but write the letter. You could be afraid, Taroni, as you write the letter, but write them the letter. Bombard them, loyal daughter 66. They bombarded you when they wanted your vote. Remember? Born again. Monica Ince. Write them. Michael Jilks. Write them. And I think, I'm not sure if this is a gentleman, somebody did up something for us, went and took parts of the video and cut out parts and edited. If you're an editor, we listen, we need all hands on deck, you know. If you're watching this and you can edit and you saw something in here that's real powerful in the shows, cut it out and send it around. It's our show. No, we know no copyright and all of that stuff. This is our stuff here. Nobody owns this. This is our stuff. So cut it out and you can send it around. Anika, how you doing, Anika? Good. Sir Alfred from Brooklyn. What can you do from Brooklyn? What can you do from Brooklyn? Let me tell you, this is not entertainment. We need action. Ask yourself right now, please, what can I do to bring about this change in Barbados that we need? What can I do to bring about the change that we need? Fabian Yard, Dale Real, Mystic Angel, you're tired? You're tired and fed up now? You're tired and fed up? You see what happening to the schools? You see, you have people that are being paid, adult professionals. Kay McConney, they went and changed the whole constitution for her. And what are we getting? Was it worth it? But no, the Prime Minister gets a lackey. The Prime Minister gets a lackey. And what do we get? A bad education system is what we get. Bad management. Contractors who are telling me that their credit card max out because they don't get any, they have to put the money up front and they won't pay them. So a lot of times you see the work starting late. They didn't pay from the year before. Huh? Yeah. And that is the government. That is the government that we are dealing with. Yes. Let me tell you, Jillian Allen, we need changes. Jacqueline, we need changes. Tony Paris, yes, we need changes. And only we, it's us. Nobody coming to save us. It's us. You hear what I tell you? Mr. Thorne is only one person in there. Don't drop your guard because Mr. Thorne is inside there. You're going to support it. But let me tell you something. You've got to pick up. You've got to fight for yourself. We've got to tell this government no. 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 Yes, Teroni. Yes, 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 yes. That's it. Nikki Nicole, we cannot afford any more of our taxpayer dollar to go missing. Come on, Barbados. Huh? Now they want to bring the CyberCrime Bill to shut us up so we can't come on here and talk about KEMAR. If the CyberCrime Bill is passed, let me tell you something. KEMAR can't come on here to tell you about the money missing. They will lock him up or fine him or both. Where KEMAR going to find $100,000? Do we need a cybercrime bill? Yes, we do. Do we need to patrol the cyberspace? Yes, we do. But why is it that ours is so draconian? Why are you using it to punish your citizens? Every single thing that you do is heavy-handed. We are tired of you. And we're tired of the mismanagement. We're tired of the corruption, and we want to know where the money is. Where the $84.6 million, wait there. You hear what I tell you? Now, this that you see on the screen is somebody said that last night, and look, another person did it. Let me tell you something. We're ready, you know. And don't you tell me that we don't have anybody. Only them can govern this country. Oh, if they go, what is going to happen? Do you see how fast this was done? That's why we know something wrong. We know something is wrong in the management of this country because we have able-bodied people in this country, and we look and we know that's something wrong. How on earth? School dismissed from June. And teachers are still going in and then doing industrial cleaning, and you tell me you're doing the same thing every year? Come on, man. Come on, man. We came on here last night and look, you see it produced? Somebody said this last night, and by tonight it's on here. Somebody said write to the parliamentarians, and somebody wrote to them today. And spend time and research all 30 names. Come on. We came on here and we showed you the night before that somebody needs a wheelchair, and they got a brand new wheelchair the following day. Huh? And you're trying to tell me that us Barbados, we don't have enough people to run a country? What are you trying to tell me? That all of that education and all the knowledge, you know how many professionals we have in Barbados? You think it's only them are professionals? Don't believe that propaganda. Don't believe that lie. Don't let anybody tell you anything about yourself and try to put us down. And because we don't talk up in our nose and blah, blah, blah. and don't want, like, you know, this black, I keep telling people this is this black bourgeoisie class in here that causing a lot of this issue, that walk and talk up inside of their nose. And when you see the conditions that poor people are living in this country, it makes you cry every single day. Every day I say to Casual, I don't know how you manage, because it's depressing. Yesterday, there was a brother with us doing some work in the community, and he said, man, said, this is so depressing. It is. And these people live inside of your constituencies. They live in your constituencies. And suffering like that, and you driving around in the biggest ride. Your ride bigger than everybody. And when you come into the parliament, all the type of fashion everybody involved in. What do you think this is? Let me tell you, we're not stupid, you know. And I want us to get serious. A lot of you feel a little shame because you went and you voted for them twice. And you're suffering now, and you feel a little shame. I am one of them that believe that you're going to see the leaders. They're going to rise. Okay? They will rise. And I don't business which party they come from. Let me say that in English. I'm getting too passionate. Somebody talked to me about my tone, that I have to watch my tone. When I get passionate, you know, but I get passionate for Barbados. You know, I get passionate for Barbados, and you know, listen, I am tired, yes, Marcy, of the crookery and the crime. The white collar crime. We want to get rid of crime, but we're not talking about the white collar crime. All these things that they take the money. You understand? You know, there are people in the Caribbean, they say, whoa, your prime minister, I mean, she gets a lot of money, a lot of grants, and she does it in our name. But the thing is, we can't put our hands on anything. Look at that they've used the money for. If, for me, yes, they could be borrowing a lot of money, but then if you saw what the money was being put in, right? What they were doing. They put money into the Kensington, and all they talk about is the lights. Not even the scoreboard was automated. We can't see where that the 50 million, and they just love to deal in millions. These are poor people just need a couple $1,000s to change their life. And you just going around and spending millions. We are tired of it. I can't wait for KEMAR to come on. You know, what time is it? Let's play the anthem. I can't, but listen, I want to set it the record straight that this is not entertainment, okay? This is not entertainment. This is our life. This is real stuff here. We're fighting for our democracy. We're fighting for Barbados. We're fighting for what our ancestors left for us. Tom Adams and Owen Arthur and Errol Barrow and all of those prime ministers. All that they did for us. And those that died and went on before them. What is this? This is a dolly house? They're mashing up the place. They're mashing up the hospital. They're mashing up education. And we must just sit down. No, we're a different kind of Barbadian. Whole different set of people. And I know we're accustomed, everybody say, oh, you know, in Kenya, we're the young people and they need the young people. I tell you something, there's a revolution of the mind that is happening, a revolution of thought that is happening in Barbados. And let me tell you, it is the same elderly people, the aged, the ones that they say that they need to put them in a corner and we must hear from them. Those ones that they rub up the pension. There is a revolution of thought and a revolution of mind that is happening in Barbados, and it is occurring with those people 50 and over. I tell you, you said the 50 and over. Did you hear that little? I still can't find her. That little 85-year-old woman. You hear how feisty she is? A former BLP senator. She's feisty. She was so feisty. You know why? Because she sees that her Barbados is changing. That's why she's so feisty. She knows what it used to be. They can't fool the elderly in this country. And the elderly, let me tell you something, they're going to let them think again. They're going to let them think again. You see the Rose Corbins, huh? They're going to let them think again. So when we're looking for the young people, you have some, listen, there were people on that march with pain in their knees, in the ankles. You heard me tell you? Arthritis. And they were walking. And there's some of them, they come anytime you have, and they have pain, you know, but they're coming. I tell this administration, you watch it. Those elderly people they're going to deal with you all. Because you know why? You're mashing up the country. You're mashing up healthcare. And we know it because we know what it is supposed to be. And we are too smart. We're intelligent, and you can't put any wool over our eyes anymore. Huh? The Kool-Aid wear out. Yes? The Kool-Aid wear out. So let us stand for the national anthem. I wanted to set the record tonight straight. That we are not here. This is not your entertainment show where you get your popcorn. This is a to-do. When we finish, you need to have your list of to-dos of what you're going to do. Yeah? Let us stand for the national anthem. We are strict guardians. We're passionate because we're strict guardians of our heritage. We are guarding the heritage of Barbados. And all of these people who decide and that they want to mash up this country, we are saying that enough is enough. You're not going to mash it up. We're not accepting it. I want us to be alert tonight, and I want us to understand that we are all leaders. We are all leaders. We can do this, Barbados. We can do this. Skylar, let me read some of the comments as we, KEMAR is going to come on. Please share. That's the other thing I'm going to ask us to do. Please share. Right? Put it in the WhatsApp groups. Send it out. And we don't want any distraction. Don't quarrel with anybody who come in here who's still drinking the Kool-Aid. Focus. Focus. This is a revolution of the elderly. I see them when I go to the supermarket. I see them when I'm on the street. Skylar Watson says, yes, Marcia, as long as the people know what is going on and how they're trying to muzzle us, the people will vote them out. Yes, and they're coming out. There is, somebody wrote here, something here, and I didn't see it earlier and I can't find it, but they messaged it to me. The winds of change is blowing. The wind of change is blowing throughout our fair land. Are you ready for this change? Are you loyal opposition? Are you ready? We don't have the luxury of fear. We don't have the time to be fearful. You understand? They're taking the calm, the hurricane coming and the wind blowing off the roof and the window and the thing, and you're going to stand up and say you fear. You're going to try to save yourself and your family. That's the situation we're in right now. Everything that they touch, destroyed. Every single thing. Can you hear this wind of change? It is whispering, vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out. That's what the wind of change is whispering. It's whispering what? Vote them out. You can hear it? Vote them out. Yeah. That's what is happening. And that's what they're afraid of. But I tell you, they're going to get a rude awakening, Nikki Nicole. Yes? Yes? We are, yes, keep the pace up and we will keep focused. No retreat, no surrender. We tired of the lies and we want to know our money. We no more. And if they cannot tell us where this 84.6 million, and we don't want no, you come with no, give us this, vague thing. We want you to break it down. You gonna break down this $84.6 million to us. You think this is water? You think this $84.6 million is water? You told us, thank God for KEMAR STUART. You told us that you were going to, after Mr. Thorne, raise it in Parliament, and this is what I'm trying to tell us, how we tag team. One isn't greater than the next, because KEMAR could not go into Parliament because he doesn't have a seat. But KEMAR raised it on the show. KEMAR did the research down there in St. John. Who is St. John? I remember, and I was grilling him. KEMAR, you sure what you're saying? And that young man came on here and burst that. And then Mr. Thorne was able to take it to Parliament. That's how we work, guys. We're not competing with one another. And that was brought, and then she came back and she said, what? What did the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Mayor Motley said? That they were going to investigate it. Have you heard anything from that woman about the $60 million again? Aren't you sick and tired of the lies and the promises? We are adults. She got up to keep everybody quiet. Oh, she's going to do an investigation. When Mr. Thorne tried to put it on the agenda for the PAC, the Public Accounts Committee, they gang up all those government ministers and they would not put it on, and we are still lining up behind that government. Ask her where is it when the investigation going to start. And now we have another situation. What would it take us for? Where is the $84.6 million? We are tired. We don't want any more promises. KEMAR says, true, Marcia, if we're not scared when they come begging for our votes, we cannot be scared to speak to them now or anytime. They were knocking up my yard here. Come in. Some of them I peep through, and once I see where they were, I just lock my door. Okay? Kind of wasting no time with people. Yeah? You're lucky I wasn't watering my plants. Judy Jilks. The only change is about them. We don't want any more. We don't. You see, when the press conferences, don't listen no more. Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. They're filling up our head with a bag of lies. We should be saying we should boycott all of their press conferences until they can tell us what happened to the $60 million and the investigation that you said in Parliament to shut up the leader of the opposition that you're going to do. Where is it? After you took up all so much money and carried to Dubai, huh? You think we don't remember? You think we don't remember? You think we have Alzheimer's? Huh? You think it's Alzheimer's we have? We don't have Alzheimer's, and we are not. You can give the young children them the whole heap of effect and so on. But you see the elderly in this country, they're going to deal with you all. We're going to make sure that you are held accountable. I see Mr. Stewart is here, and he will let me know if he's ready. Yeah? But we're going down the road tonight, and we're not joking about this thing. We're not joking. We're not in no entertainment. I want you, when the show is finished tonight, have your list of to do what you are supposed to do. We're not into entertainment, right? And listen, I know I'm tough tonight, but you know I love you all. But we're not joking. This can't be jokes anymore. Mr. KEMAR Stewart is here, and I'm going to go right into. Let him go right ahead. I know Dave has a couple slides for him. Good night, KEMAR. How are you doing? You come right into the fire, man. Everything is up. How are you doing? Not ready yet? Okay, he's not ready yet. Let me read some more of the comments. You're muted, KEMAR, if you're speaking. I'm not sure if you realize.
Good night, Marcia. Good night. Are you hearing me well?
Yes, we're hearing you. But there is an echo.
Echo, better now?
Let's see. Hello. There's an echo.
Better now. It should be fine. I'm gonna try it one more time, then we'll go and come back.
Yes, go out and come back in. Folks, this is the time that you share and you like. Okay? Important. Good night, Donna. Thank you for joining. The fair is over. Do you know there was a time that I was afraid to post to? A couple years ago, I was afraid to post. Yeah? Especially just after they got elected. I was afraid to post as well. And I remember I got over that fear. Yeah, you know I'm going to tell you all the truth. I'll tell you my business. Yes, it's true. I was afraid. Because everybody said, who's going to get you and all of that. But after you start to suffer and you're going through the things you're going through, you can't be afraid anymore. I'm done with that. Yeah? Yes, JW6378. Good night. He says, I tired and ready to vote them out. True. I'm telling you, they're going to get a rude awakening. Yes, come on. Wait there. Where the 84.6 million, 84.6 million is not going to go the way of the 60. And we're not giving up on that 60 million. We don't forget. We don't forget. You went to Dubai and take all of your friends to Dubai. The other day, we are here suffering and going through our things, and you go on to support another artist, right? You go on to the Apollo and take all of your friends to the Apollo, right? To support Marshall Montana that you just paid him $250,000. Huh? You just paid Marshall Montana $250,000 in Barbados here. And you pick up yourself and go to Harlem at the Apollo in New York to support him. It's not an athlete from Barbados that's running. It's nothing like that. He's a wealthy Trini man, and you pick up to go there. Huh? And we must sit down here and suck salt. The people that we're seeing, the condition that we are people in here sick, and they don't even have wheelchairs. They can't get a wheelchair, but you can spend so much money and put on your lavish parties. No, we're not going to accept that anymore. Right? The repairs not done on the schools. Education. What were you doing all this time? And then repairs not done, and you spend so much money on Cricket World Cup that we can't see the benefit of it yet. Okay, we did so well. Take some of the money from the Cricket World Cup and fix the schools. Okay, KEMAR is back. Good night, KEMAR. Good night, KEMAR. Unmute.
Yes, could you hear me now? Or it's still echoing?
I'm hearing you. There's still the echo, but we're going to go along. I'll keep quiet. Go right ahead, KEMAR.
Yes. So good night to everyone. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm very glad to be here. To you, Marcia. Usually there's a big crowd on the panel, so it's was good to be early. Good night to all of the members of the loyal opposition. I'm very happy to be with you this Monday. I probably may not be as enthusiastic, Marcia, or as passionate and putting it over, but a serious question needs to be answered in Barbados about this $84 million at wording with this sewage outfall, right? And why it is interesting, Marcia, is because over the last weekend, and just to use your terminology here, the rigged nomination happening in Christchurch South, the Prime Minister would have spoken to something called wisdom, and she attributed wisdom to Wilfred Abrams, right? I said that Wilfred Abrams was wise in the advice that he gave to them with this outfall scenario. So I want you to hear it, Marcia. So I don't know if Dave could put it up that everybody could hear the Prime Minister speaking about this outfall, and then after we're gonna break down the language so that everybody could see and follow this missing $84 million. But this is a very serious thing.
My friends, that the installations that we put in place when we came into office to to stop sewage on the streets would have been affected, or could have been affected, I should say. And I thank William Duguay for taking the lead with the Barbados Water Authority to be proactive and to go in and ensure excellent work that Wilfred did when he was Minister of Water in putting the outflow pipes off Graham Hall, that we would be in good position. And the wisdom that Wilfred reflected as leader of that ministry in putting 2 pipes down, an 8-inch pipe and a 12-inch pipe, so that there would be redundancy, so that if one break, you still got another one to hold on to, hopefully. Both could break, that is always the point. But the chances of one for sure breaking was always there. And the proactive work within hours of Beryl passing us allowed us to determine where we had a leak, and many a person in this country did not even know that we had a problem with the outflow in the sewage pipe, and that it was fixed in no time at all, that the corrective action to protect the people's health in this country was taken to shut down that beach, not because there was any sewage coming on shore, but we did not want to take the risk whatsoever. And I give you this as another example of choices, because the choices that we make determine the outcome. And today, we are therefore benefiting from that, recognizing that the work that Santia started for me with respect to the debt for climate swap,
Yes, so you heard about the Prime Minister speaking about the sewage outfall and Wilfred Abrams. Now I want to share my screen with you, Marcia, so that we could do fact checking, because we always like to put the facts there that everybody could see, right? So on the screen here, you can see, or should be able to see, sorry, Wilfred Abrams. So I don't know if Dave could bring up that particular screen large that you could see, but the article says here, Marcia, up to par, and you can see a picture of Wilfred Abrams. Now I'm going to scroll up so you can start to read what is in this article. And it says here that a major step has been taken to facilitate the installation of a much needed permanent outfall. Here the word permanent outfall for the South Coast sewage system. Minister of Energy and Water Resources Wilfred Abrams today revealed to Barbados today that Cabinet had given its approval for the permanent outfall to be designed by Canadian marine and coastal engineering firm Baird Associates. He said that once everything goes according to plan, the new outfall, Marcia, the new outfall will be in place by October of next year, which should have been October 2020. Right? But still, you heard the Prime Minister speaking over last weekend about a temporary outfall. Right? But here's Abrams saying that Cabinet, because Abrams was the chairman of the subcommittee to manage the South Coast sewage problem. Right? So it says here in the article now that right now we have a stabilization of the South Coast sewage system so that it's operating as well as it can without a permanent fix. The permanent fix being the permanent outfall as well as the upgrade and rebuild of the sewage treatment plant to tertiary plant. It says that Cabinet approved the first step towards the construction of the permanent outfall with the contractor Baird. He says so they are going to design and start that process so that we can send it out to bids and to tender and to get it going. And the intention still is to have the permanent outfall construction entirely completed and operational by September, October next year, which would have been 2020. Right? 2020. So you see, we establish the fact that a permanent outfall is supposed to be there. So what I will go on to do now is to share Marcia, the Caribbean Development Bank. This is from their website. I'm on CDB's website, as everybody could see here, right? So it says Caribbean Development Bank supports South Coast Sewage System solution for Barbados. And this was published on the 12th of December 2019. And it says here that the CDB is assisting the government, the Barbados government, with implementing a long-term solution to the problems which have been plaguing the South Coast sewage system. On Thursday, December 12th, the bank's board approved a loan of US 29.8 million to finance the construction of a new marine outfall for the system. And the total cost of the project is estimated at US 42.3 million, including the government of Barbados counterpart contribution of US 12.5 million. Right. I'm going to go over that part one more time. It says here that on December 12th, the CDB's board of directors approved a loan of US 29.8 million to finance the construction of a new marine outfall for the system, and the total cost of the project is estimated at US 42.3 million, and the government of Barbados' counterpart contribution of US 12.5 million. And it says here that the new outfall is a critical component in addressing the issues with the system, which malfunctioned in 2017, affecting the country to such an extent that it was termed a national crisis. And Director of Projects at the Caribbean Development Bank, Daniel Best, pointed to the impact of the system's breakdown. Right? So we established here, Marcia, from the CDB, that there was indeed a loan from the government of Barbados, from CDB, sorry, to the government of Barbados for a permanent outfall, at which cabinet mandated that it was supposed to be installed since 2020. Right? This is 2024. But still, the Prime Minister last Saturday was speaking about a temporary outfall that Abrams commissioned. He said that it was wise. Now, if we can show on the screen, right? If we can show on the screen from Dave's angle the official documents proving, right? Official documents from the CDB proving that the loan was indeed signed off on and given over to the government, but still today, Marshall, we have no permanent outfall. Right? So where's the money? Right? What's interesting about this outfall, Marshall, is that John Mwanza, this is the same guy who did the Joby Water business, right? He told them at a town hall meeting at Hawthorne Methodist Church that the permanent solution would have been best solution, right? The permanent solution would have been the best solution. He told them that. Daniel Best told them that the permanent solution would have been the best solution. So explain to us how in this day and age, Marcia, that we still do not have a permanent outfall. And Duguay, in his last press conference, right here is it on the screen. So I just want to read that particular. I want to read that particular document that is on the screen, right? So that people understand the extent to which this stealing thing of the government's money and how far it has gone, because this is more money than the whole project. This is more money than Kensington, right? $84 million is not a little bit of money. So you could see here that the Caribbean Development Bank held their meeting December 12, 2019, and it says South Coast Outfall Project Barbados. The attached report appraises a proposal for a loan to the government of Barbados to finance the construction of a new permanent marine outfall for the South Coast sewage system. And the new outfall is a critical component of the government of Barbados' response to addressing the South Coast sewage system, which affected the island to the extent that the situation was termed a national crisis. And the project is estimated to cost a total of US $42.3 million, with the government of Barbados' counterpart contribution being US $12.5 million. On the basis of the report, I recommended a loan to the government of Barbados of an amount not exceeding the equivalent of $29,008,000 US dollars. The loan consisting of an amount not exceeding the equivalent of $29,008,000 United States dollars, and from ordinary capital resources of the Caribbean Development Bank on the CDB standard terms and conditions, and the terms and conditions are set out and referred to in Chapter 7 of the particular report. Right. So this right here again establishes the fact that the loan was indeed signed off on. Right. And if you look at the next slide, it gives you two names. Again, Director of Projects, Mr. Daniel Best, and the Division Chief. His name is L. O'Reilly Lewis. Right. So here's it, an official report from the government, from the CDB, speaking to the loan that they gave to the government of Barbados. So the money was given. They have the money. They had the money. So explain to me how $84 million could disappear under Wilfred Abrams, and the Prime Minister of Barbados coming to the public and saying that it was wise advice and that Abrams displayed wisdom. It can't be wisdom if $84 million is disappearing. Right? So Abrams, Wilfred Abrams, need to come to the people of Barbados and say to us why the permanent outfall is not there. And if he can't produce the outfall, which we know he can't, and which we have proof that outfall is not there, right? Produce the 84.6 million, because he was the person who chaired the subcommittee of cabinet in terms of managing the South Coast sewage outfall. Right?
So KEMAR, let me turn off your mic when I ask the question, because we're having that interference, right? It was 29.8 million US dollars from CDB, and then there was another 12.5 million that came. I wasn't sure of the source of that other 12.5 million. What was the source?
That the government of Barbados put that up. So
right here,
right. So it worked out to be approximately 30 million Barbados dollars, close to $30 million. You know.
So the calculation on it. I'm just going to turn on the mic so I can speak, right? The calculation on it is 29.8 million from CDB, and then the government put forward 12.5. So it gave us 43.3, which is where we get the 86, the 80 something from, right? Because it's US. We're dealing with US, right?
Yeah, US. It's all US.
Right. Okay. So we can't divide two. Continue.
Yes. So DUJON know, Marcia, when he went to the outfall on the last period, this is when the Prime Minister said she wants to thank DUJON. DUJON stood down there at a CBC conference and said that the repairs have gone ahead, but they do not have a figure as to the total cost as yet. So it seems as though the contractors, right? It seems as though the contractors had a blank check open, which was to go and do the repairs and then write the government an invoice as to how much it cost. But he openly said to reporters that he has no idea what the latest, right? What the latest repairs would have cost. That has nothing to do with the 84.6 million that has completely gone missing. Right? And now the Prime Minister has taken over Water Authority. She's the Minister of Water Resources, so she should make a statement about this 84 million, because since Abrams left Water Resources, we had Ian Gooding Edgell as Minister of Water Resources. We had Charles Griffith as Minister of Water Resources. We had Santia Bradshaw as Minister of Water Resources. So we had about 5 ministers of water resources. Right? But all of the facts point towards Wilfred Abrams having been appointed by the Prime Minister as chairman of that subcommittee of cabinet, and the money was handed directly to the Minister of Water Resources, and it was Minister Abrams. Right? So
KEMAR, let's fix this here. The thing is, when you think about it, the other big question that you're also asking is, how did it move from permanent to temporary? Why did they decide, even though the people that loaned the money, everybody said the best thing is a permanent solution, but they said they're going to do permanent. But here we saw her saying it's a temporary solution. Why did it change? What was the cost of the temporary solution? Why wasn't it permanent anymore? These are things that we would like to know. Right, KEMAR?
yeah. Yes, but the cost of the temporary repairs are not included in the 84.6 million, you know. They repaired it temporarily, and then they went and borrowed the 84.6 million to build a permanent one. Yes. So there are 2 separate bills. And what's interesting is that they announced that they were approaching the Canadian government. Right? They approached the Canadian government for assistance on this, which means right, that this goes international, because if the Canadian government has been engaged to tackle this, of course, there's problem, but still you have the outright stealing, it's a thieving of taxpayers' money, then this needs to be highlighted. Right? And I don't know why the Prime Minister will come and praise for Marcia. To be honest with you, the Nation newspaper carried this article, you know, and to my surprise, the Nation newspaper right, carried this very recently.
Yes.
And I was very shocked to see the Nation carrying it on Friday, the 6th of September, as a letter to the editor. Right? Because if they had gone ahead and built the permanent outfall would have been buried under the seabed. Right? So that was the advice from Mwanza and all the technical experts, that the permanent outfall is supposed to be hurricane resilient. So when Beryl hit, had they gone ahead with the outfall, it would have not impacted the country at all, because the outfall would have already been buried under the sea. So the repairs on Beryl, which is another reason for them to go and spend more money, it was because of their negligence. If they had gone ahead and taken the advice and built the outfall, we would have not had that additional bill to cover the expenses for Beryl, and everything would have been a-okay. So I see this as a reason to continuously spend money, and they left that temporary outfall. And you heard the Prime Minister say, well, we know it can mash up. So she knew that it would have been destroyed. Right? Because they know every time it's destroyed, that is money that they have to spend. And if you could be sending contractors on the job to do work on a blank open check and tell them do the work and write me the check after, I flag corruption.
Repeat that, KEMAR.
DUJON say that the contractors have already gone ahead and done the work, but he cannot give a total cost for all of the repairs up to the time he was speaking with the press. So I could only and firmly assume that the contractors had an open blank check to go ahead and do the work and then write the government an invoice as to what they feel the repairs cost. Because he said he couldn't give it. So how are you going ahead as a minister and allowing people to do work without an upfront invoice to say how much the work will cost? Right.
KEMAR,
So
I am telling you, people, and when you see the nation, let's do that. KEMAR, just turn off your mic. When we see the Nation newspaper, you see people, let me tell you, the tides are changing, you know, wind is changing, you know, people are waking up, you know. And I'm hoping, KEMAR, that you will have investigative reporters that are going to dig, listen to the show and dig on behalf of the people of Barbados. Because can you imagine? It was 60 million and this is now $84.6 million. I thought that they had done use it and did something inferior. I didn't realize that it hasn't been done yet. Wow, go ahead, KEMAR.
yes, this is a national crisis, Marcia. This is the problem, and we need to not let this go. This is up there with the whole project. This reeks of stealing. This reeks of corruption. Because if Marcia, I this is not the first time that I spoke about this publicly, you know. I did a video on that beach. Right? I did a video on that beach. I went down by the beach, and I played the video on your show as well.
Yes.
Right? I did that video down on the beach when I saw it. So the same way we went up to St. John for the whole project, I also went down to Worden Beach to realize what was happening for myself. Right? So I would say no. And I remember the government trying to bring the issue of water authority on the Public Accounts Committee. I say bring it. I say bring water authority. Let us discuss how, as Minister of Water Resources, Wilfred Abrams was able to allegedly disappear $84.6 million and no permanent outfall. Let us discuss that. So he should be hauled before the PAC. I don't know how the opposition leader would think about it, you know, in terms of having this brought to the table, in terms of having it put to the PAC, and we could even ask the Auditor General to do a special audit on it, right? Because some persons may not want to take KEMAR shorts facts, you know. Some they might not want to. So although we may put all the documents in people's faces for them to see, they still might need an official of the government, and who's most official and independent, like the Auditor General. We could get the Auditor General to do a special audit of this 84.6 million, and that could then inform how the opposition leader proceeds in terms of having this brought up on the agenda for the PAC, and having Abrams made to speak publicly about this money and how it was spent, because there's no fault. So you can't come and fudge us with anything like that. There's no fault and still no account for the money. So if that can happen, I go as far as to say this should be sent to the Director of Public Prosecution, somebody that has the power, right? Because this is real corruption, Marcia, and this is right up there with the whole project. But that's enough for me.
But KEMAR, I say this, and this is what I was saying earlier on the show, because when you come with these things, it's a tag team thing. The leader of the opposition can take this inside the parliament, as he did with the whole project. You see, and this is how we work together. Somebody else, that we have no problem with a reporter now going and building on what you have just said here. I'm sure you don't have a problem with that, because we're going to work together. You understand? Because of what if we don't do it together, people, They will continue to feel like, oh, this one person over here talking. But if all of us, remember I said tonight at the end of the show, we need to all have our to-do list. Everybody get your to-do list, because we've got to get rid of these people. They have to go. We are tired of it. Well, KEMAR, I tell you, this is I'm sure that people are going to be picking up on this as we all did with the whole project, and this is going to go all the way into Parliament. I believe this is what is going to happen. KEMAR, is there anything else that you want to say to us tonight on this issue?
Well, this is the thing now. With water resources being right under the hand of the Prime Minister, right? This is only the beginning, you know. You heard Kerry Simmons, you heard the Prime Minister keep speaking about and Abrams about a tertiary level plant, that Joby water plant that they want to build up there. And they said that they are going to spend $600 million in the debt for nature swap to be able to build these tertiary level plants. So if we believe that they were so comfortable in disappearing the first 84 million, think about how much more they're going to disappear now when they have access to 600 million. Plus all of the other billions in terms of climate financing. And I keep saying Water Authority is the institution to watch, because all of the climate financing, all of the Bridgestone Initiative, the Green Climate Fund, the Blue Green Bank, all of these projects, Water Authority is the sole institution that all of this money will be channeled through. Water Authority will end up being privatized, and as you saw recently, how they outwardly now fired the general manager of Water Authority, as we were saying on this show before, from every sense ago, when Santia Bradshaw, when she was Minister of Water Resources, when she left Barbados, when she snuck out of Barbados, Marcia, and went to Europe, and came back with the legislation, the Barbados Water Authority Amendment Act. And within that act, they made the post of general manager redundant, and then they gave Kiefer Halliday an acting contract, and that is how he became acting CEO, because they fired the man. Right? So, Water Authority. And before I forgot something. I always wanted to know why, the real reason why Dr. Hygienist Leon was fired from CDB.
You remember we covered that on the show?
Yes. Remember, he was not supported for the job. Remember, they had that job for Avinash Prasad. Right? There was an effort to put Avinash Prasad in that job. Right? He didn't win. There was a short list, 3 applicants: Avinash Prasad, Hygienist Leon, and somebody else. Can't remember the guy's name. And Barbados wanted Prasad. Remember, the CDB is headquartered in Barbados. Right? So here you have a corruption scandal. A corruption scandal which is going to further impact on the reputation of both the CDB and the government. So we need to ask questions. Why was he really fired? Was he fired to cover up something? Because the facts are coming out, and official documentation from the CDB could show that there was the loan, everything is there, and still you're trying to fire a man which they never supported in the first place, and he's out. So I wonder if they're covering up by firing him, trying to cover up for deeper corruption that is happening there. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. KEMAR. We appreciate the education. We appreciate the research that you do. And as somebody said, Mr. Thorne has his hands full, because when he goes in there, we want him to hold them accountable from inside there, because that's how we tag team. Yeah, we tag teaming on this one here again. All right, thank you so much, KEMAR. God bless you, and see you again. Alternative Views, guys, is going to be on this Thursday at 7 o'clock. All right, that is KEMAR Show, Alternative Views. His book is available on Amazon. You can also go to the marciaweekshow.com and you can purchase his book there as well. Alternate Views. Thank you so much, KEMAR. God bless you. Bye-bye. Oh my word, I tell you, and look who I have on the screen. And I see somebody here, he's setting up his camera and trying to get sorted. Let know if he's sorted. But we are going around the Caribbean, because let me tell you, this corruption, it has its tentacles in a lot of other Caribbean islands, especially Guyana, because our leader and the leader of Guyana, you know what they do. You remember the story of the black belly sheep. Well, we have our Guyanese right here, and tonight we're going to be talking about education. And we have Senator David NAKHID from Trinidad talking about education. You're going to see what we have in common, and you're going to see, people, what is really happening with our education system in the Caribbean. Hang on there, man. Hang on there, because we also have FELICIA DUJON from Barbados. And we're going to go right around the Caribbean, Guyana, Trinidad, Barbados, and see what is happening there, because our Prime Minister, he has a strong connection right there in Guyana. So let me first of all welcome Miss McAlmont, Mihaela McAlmont. Good evening.
Good evening, Marcy, and thank you so much for the opportunity of being on your show. And yes, the name is Mihaela. That's all right. I don't expect you to get it. But yes, the name is Mihaela McAlmont for those who are watching.
McAlmont.
Yes.
McAlmont. And can you tell us really quickly, what is it that you do in Guyana, beautiful Guyana?
Well, I am a teacher by profession. I've been teaching for the past 12 years. 13. And I am a head of department Allied Arts. So it includes physical education, theater arts, music, all the areas of arts. But most importantly, I am also a union representative for my area. So we tend to not only hold our employers accountable, but to ensure that our teachers are given better wages, better salaries, and most importantly, better working conditions.
Yes, excellent. And I want to commend you on your service in the teaching profession for 12 years. We're going to have a discussion. This is a Caribbean roundtable we're having here on education, and we're going to, trust me guys, hang in there, you're going to see the similarities. We have with us, of course, we know him, Senator David NAKHID from Trinidad. Let me tell you, this is a bulldog in Trinidad. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening to all your viewers, and nice to be with you again.
Yes, it's great, and I see you're battling on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, as you should, because you're an oppositional senator, and I truly want to commend you for that.
Well, I'm battling. I would like to think that when I battle on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, I'm actually battling on behalf of the people of the Caribbean, because we all face similar challenges, and we all are very well aware of the political culture that exists within the Caribbean, and it's something that we have to overcome. In spite of those challenges, we have to overcome them, because let me tell you something. We are the prime example, and when I say we in the Caribbean, we are primarily placed to be the prime example to the rest of the world. You see, we cannot keep following the narrative that we have to follow Europe or America. We are primarily placed as a people, as a Caribbean people, to be an example to the world. I really believe that, but we have our challenges to overcome, and I think that we are on the cusp of overcoming those challenges if we approach it in the right way.
Yes. Thank you, Senator. Let me just put, Miss DUJON back in there. Good night, FELICIA DUJON.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Marcia. Good evening to my fellow panelists, and of course to your viewers. We had quite a number of rain. We had some rain today.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I believe it was happening in. Did you have a lot of rain in Guyana too, Miss McCulman? Okay, you're muted.
So sorry, so sorry. We had drizzles, not heavy rainfalls.
Not heavy rainfalls. Okay, and now how about Trinidad? Did you have a lot of rain in Trinidad? Senator Nakid.
Yes, yes, yes. We had, as a matter of fact, we have a saying now: when it rains for 12 minutes, the whole place floods because there has been a serious neglect of drainage and of building the proper infrastructure. So we've had a serious amount of flooding within the last 4 or 5 years. It rains for 12 minutes and the whole place floods.
And
But
everybody's flooded. Everybody's flooded out. I tell you, so many issues, and they're all so common. Let's go to Miss McCulmont. She's a teacher for 12 years and also union representative right there in Guyana. And we want to talk about this evening the state of education in Guyana, and we want to start at the infrastructure. I saw on your news that there was a school that caught fire, a whole school. Can you talk to us about that and about the preparedness of the infrastructure for school in Guyana?
Marcia, again, you saw recently one school, but for the last year or so, we had just about 5 schools being burned. For some reason or the other, they're being caught afire. And I'm not sure if you know of the Maria story just about last year, where we had about 11 students being burnt up and so on. It is so unfortunate that um, while monies are being spent, they're not taking their time to assess that engineers or the engineers are not taking their time to assess the work being done. It is very much billions of dollars, but billions of waste taxpayers' dollars because it is poor infrastructure and most importantly, poor services we're getting. For example, I can tell you right now, in my branch, that is the New Amsterdam branch, if you take a look at around the schools around, works, you see repairs are being done, but at what standard, at what quality it is being done. And the thing is, the places that need the most repairs, those are not being attended to. You see a new school put up somewhere, and in 2 more mornings, you hear something about the school because of poor work being done. Because of course we know that contracts are given to friends, families, and favorites in Guyana. So if you were the friend of somebody in government, of course you can get a contract. And nobody questions to know if you have the capability of doing the job. But because you're the friend of somebody, you're being given that opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Somebody says the same in Barbados. Now, I know you have some pictures, and we're waiting to see those pictures being put up. Have you started school as yet?
Yes, definitely. We are now on our 2nd week for school. And in the first week of school, you still had schools being painted. In the first week of school, you still had a lot of construction being in existence. You still had so much happening. Cleaners were not able to get into the schools to clean the schools in time for proper preparation for the students. So schools
What are
have
we looking
started.
at here? What are we looking at here? Explain to us. What are we seeing here?
So this is one primary school, basically where we have our age 5 to 11 students. And this is one school in my area that this is what the teachers were tasked with going on a Monday morning, well dressed in their uniform, ready to teach the nation's children. And this is what they're faced with. And no fault of the head teacher in this case, because the contractors finished the job the night before. So there's no way, or the day before, there's no way they were able to adequately prepare that school for that the students and the teachers. So when we talk about preparation for school in Guyana, it is poor, very, very poor. I think they would boast and brag about some schools being prepared, and so they will show that in mass media. But if I'm supposed to seriously walk you through many of the schools, one, poor ventilation. The place is very heated now. And so the students have to be fanning, even though some of the fans are in the classrooms. Because it is open classrooms, you don't listen. It is chaotic. It is chaotic. Every day, as union representative, teachers would reach out to me. Miss McCalman, could you take a look at what is happening with us? Could you take a look at what is happening with us? It is chaotic.
Wow. I know we have with us Mr. John, and she's going to come. And, I'm going to leave her for last because I want Barbadians to understand. When you hear Mr. John, who's a spokesperson on education for the Democratic Labor Party, she put out a video the other day, and it's not, she's not going around trying to make problems. She went to a lot of the schools and seen some of this kind of what we're seeing on the screen here. The schools are not ready. But let's hear about Trinidad before we go to Barbados. So we're going Guyana, Trinidad, and then we're going to jump to Barbados. Go ahead, Senator NAKHID. Talk to me about the preparedness of school, the infrastructure. Is it similar to Barbados and to Guyana?
Well, unfortunately, yes. From what I've just heard and seen, we have, unfortunately, with this government, and it's clear to everyone I'm an opposition senator, but what I'm saying here has been voiced in the last 2 weeks by the majority of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. We have a narrative that doesn't align with the policies that this government has implemented. For example, I did several videos on the East-West corridor, what we call the East-West corridor in Trinidad and Tobago, where most of those constituencies have become our hotspot areas. In other words, we have a lot of at-risk youth on the East-West corridor and who join gangs and so. So against the advice of all international organizations, especially the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, who advocated that since, I think, 2019, 2020, that how you mitigate against rising crime and criminality among the youth is that you have education, you invest in education, and fourthly, sport. So I think our government, and from what I've seen, a lot of the governments in the Caribbean, they have not placed education. And when I say education, I mean it in a holistic fashion. I don't mean, to say that you have pre-education and that's it, without providing the proper infrastructure facilities where the schools are functioning facilities. What we have in the Caribbean, a lot of schools, but they are not properly functioning facilities. And it's a shame, because you cannot tell me that the governments cannot find the money. If education must be the priority for our youth, then you must find the money to make those schools function, especially when you have at-risk youth and you have those schools in the catchment areas that are providing fodder for the criminal gangs. And especially in Trinidad and Tobago, we've seen that. And I have highlighted exactly that in a couple of videos that I did, and in my press conference yesterday, I spoke about that. And I don't know if it's true in Barbados. I mean, I don't want to trample on your internal politics there, but I think it has to do with, in my particular case in Trinidad, a lot of corruption, mismanagement, a degree of apathy towards education, and because it's easy for Caribbean countries to make comparative analyses with other countries that had crime and criminality rising, and they use education and sporting facilities to mitigate against crime. And now we are talking about education. How on earth are we to advance as a Caribbean nation when the first thing that must be prevalent and pervasive in our minds, in our culture, in our budget, in our government's priority, our schools are not prepared for our students? How is that possible? In other words, we if we do that, if our governments do that, they are very much complicit with the criminal gangs. They are pushing our students towards criminality. And we have to hold our governments, or any government, or any person who does that, we have to hold them accountable.
Yes, because in essence, that's what they're doing. Because if education is part of, you know, how we solve some of these issues within these communities, I mean, you know, I came out of that. I always say, thank God for education and God. And if we're taking that away from these communities, what are we expecting? Let's go to Miss DUJON from Barbados. And she is a spokesperson from the Democratic Labour Party on education. And, you know, I wanted her on because what I loved about her, she did not stay in her office. This woman hit the pavement. She went to schools. You hear me? And a lot of people don't do that. So I was very interested. Mr. John, can you talk to us about what you saw as you went to Barbadian schools this last week? What are we ready? What did you see?
I thought it was very important to visit those schools because we have to report to parents, first of all, what is the conditions of schools. But what is also important is that what we see is a reflection of the government and how they feel about education of our children. And it's important that parents understand that they have to be the voice of their children. Education is a human right. It's a right to our students, and every child has a right to proper and decent education. We cannot say that we want to educate our students and expect our students to be doing well when they have leaking roofs, when they have facilities and infrastructure that is not conducive to any human being, far less children. And so it's very important that the parents understand the dynamics at play at this moment. It's very alarming that the communication from the ministry has not been forthcoming. It's very alarming that the ministry has not taken the time to address parents on scholarships and exhibitions. It's very alarming that the ministry have not taken the opportunity to address even teachers. Could you imagine teachers?
Before we get into some of those other issues, because we're going to deal with it, when you went to the schools, the schools that you went to, did it look as though it was ready for, they were ready for school in the next week?
Well, I would say there's a mixture of both because when you go to the city, you see certain schools that needs dire attention, immediate attention. When you go to some
What are
schools in
some
the
of the things you see?
well, the fencing, they need to do a lot of painting, the washroom facilities, the classrooms, they're leaking roofs. I literally made notes as I went through every school. So I went through not only went through nursery schools, primary schools, secondary schools, and vocational school. So I went through both the city and the countryside. And there's a great disparity between the city schools and the countryside. It's almost as if they're abandoned. And these are the kinds of conversation that every child need to be treated equally. Every student need to be treated equally. It was very disheartening for me. Very disheartening because you see things on, in the media and all that flowery discussions. But when you get to the environment where the children have to be in that environment for at least 8 hours for the day, it's disheartening. It's really disheartening. I think parents work too hard and we as citizens work too hard to ensure that we pay our taxes and we go to work and then our children are in those conditions. It's truly disappointing.
And Mr. John, I mean, we know the Barbadian situation very intimately, that there were some schools that they had rats all over the place, rats running on the lunch, all of these kind of things. So one would think that they would have used the time, used the couple months and prepare the facilities. But you're saying that the ones that there were some that they look as though they started something, nothing wasn't done.
Yes, but I had a concern. I had concerns about that, which is why I went out. I had concerns that chances are some of those schools will. It's about priority. We had an entire summer. What is the ministry doing in terms of project management? Is there any monitoring and evaluation of those kinds of ensuring that all the maintenance work is being done? Who's responsible? What is the units that are responsible for that? We cannot have our children in such environments. It's against the natural and human rights to have them in those conditions. One of the things that really struck me today, look at what happened today with all the rain that we had. It started really sunny, and later in the afternoon, it was pouring rain. You can imagine our children returning to those schools where the roof is leaking. Where are they going to place those students? So these are some of the matters. I think it's very critical at this point that the Minister of Education reports to parents and teachers and inform the public as to what is happening with those schools. It is very important. They need to have some sense of accountability and transparency. We cannot continue as a country and assume that our children do not have those rights. It's something, I believe that recognizing those issues are what really struck me today, that it's important that parents and teachers stand up for the rights of children because they're the voiceless. A child cannot say, well, I don't want to come to this school. It is we that have to stand up on their behalf and ensure that adults do what is their responsibility. We are paying them to do their jobs, and we expect them to do the job and to their best ability. So if it's a matter of priority, it's a matter of planning, because we cannot every academic year be going through those matters. Something has to be done, and it has to be done urgently. Because if we are seeing, so Marcia, I want to highlight two things. We are saying that our students are failing certain classes and certain subjects, but we have to also look at the conditions that our children are in. How do we expect children to learn in that kind of environment? They could have the best teachers and the best lecturers and the best tools, but if the environment is not conducive, it's not conducive to them as human beings. So we cannot continue to assume that even if we put the best mathematical techniques or language or whatever literacy techniques or all of these intervention programs, however the infrastructure is poor, this is what we will see. These are the consequences of mismanagement and malmanagement within the ministry.
Correct. Let me, very well said, Felicia DUJON. And Felicia DUJON, let me just say that somebody's asking, where is the DLP spokesperson? I have announced about 3 times that Felicia DUJON is the DLP spokesperson on education. And she has visited schools and has, been talking about this in the public. So we have her here tonight, those of you who are asking. Let me go to Ms. McCalmont, a teacher of 12 years in Guyana and also a union rep and somebody who's very passionate about what's happening with education in Guyana. Ma'am, I want to, forgive me if I'm out of place for saying this. I'm looking at these pictures, right? And I'm saying, but Guyana supposed to have all these natural resources. You got oil, man. You got gold. I mean, I see how your leaders travel. I see, because I watch your news, and I'm like, what has happened? Somebody asked, what are the public funds being spent on? What has happened here? There's a disparity between the oil money and what we're seeing. What's going on, Miss McCalmont? You're muted, man. You're muted.
Sorry. If I should say to you, I'm not even going to tell you what the funds are spent on. I can tell you what they are not spent on. And one of that is the people. The funds are not being reached to the people. Oftentimes, I posted on my Facebook page only on Friday as I reflect on my last week at work. And it brought tears to my eyes thinking about it, because you know what? Our children are going hungry, and we have the fastest growing economy in the world, they boast. Our children in the schools are going hungry. Last week, I was, unfortunately, I had to give 6 students lunch money just because children are telling you, and these children are not asking you anything, but as a teacher you observe, why are you sleeping, what is happening, why are you getting headache, why are you getting belly pain? And then the children would say to you, miss, I didn't eat, I don't have anything to eat, I didn't have breakfast, and I don't have any lunch. Then what do you do in a case like that? Again, we boast that we're the fastest growing economy in the world and we have all of these oil resources, but it is not being met down to our people. Teachers strike for 75 days. And only to know that we are given 10%, a meager 10%. And you know what? The disrespect that it came with and all of that. Our government, our employers doesn't care anything about us. You know what? They care about the 1%, their friends, their families, their favorites, and they don't care about the public servants in our country, whether it's teachers, nurses, doctors. And if you know, even if I can sidetrack a little, nurses are leaving our country every day for the UK. Right now, our hospitals are literally empty. Coming back to schools, our schools are literally empty, especially the nursery and primary institutions, because most of our teachers are going to the first world countries to teach. The thing is, teachers are tired not only of the disrespect from our employers, the meager salary, but the poor working conditions that they have to face with. And I totally agree with Miss Felicia when she says we can have all the brightest of children, but if you don't put them in an environment that is conducive for learning, if you don't ensure that the environment is there to ensure that they can take in what is being given to them, then we are not making any sense as a nation. Again, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. And I say this in every opportunity I get. And you will remember when I say this because it will happen. People will go hungry in Guyana. And it's not until it becomes a pandemic, then our government will do something about it. Our cost of living is extremely high. We cannot cope as citizens in the country with the current cost of living, with our current salary, and the poor working conditions we have. So not only teachers are crying out, but every sector of workers, if you speak with them, it is chaotic in Guyana. It is chaos.
That's hard to believe. That's hard to believe, honestly, when I mean, everywhere they said it's one of the fastest growing economy in the world, but you see what corruption does? And so now the children, the very children, the children of the soil of that country, they're not benefiting. You see the conditions that their school is in. Senator NAKHID, I saw, thank you so much, Ms. McCallman. Senator NAKHID, I saw you had there was a newspaper article and you know that caught my attention, and you were asking where is the money that has been allotted and appointed and assigned to education in Trinidad. Can you talk to us about that? Is that money that from the budget that is supposed to go to education, assigned to education, and you're not seeing it being used for education?
Well, it's not only the opposition who hasn't seen the fruits of that taxpayer money. It's the entire country, because parents went to school with their kids when school opened last week. Parents went to school with their kids and they saw for themselves. They saw them for themselves what I had been speaking about, what the opposition was speaking about for the last 6 months, that schools were in the most dilapidated fashion, and they themselves began to protest, the parents themselves, and of course the newspapers were then forced to research the subject, and they came up with the figures actually that the government claimed or presented that they had spent $2.8 billion in the last 8 years on school infrastructure. Now, when you break that down, it became 278 million each year for school infrastructure. Now we have about 250 or more primary schools. We have 125 secondary schools. We have maybe close to 500 early childhood centers. And when you saw the abysmal state of the conditions that we had the school in, then it was quite clear that the question needed to be asked: where the money gone? And I think, listen, corruption is not a new dilemma or dilemma in the Caribbean. we know what has kept back the Caribbean from reaching first world status or second world status is the corruption by our leaders. I mean, most of our leaders, as Guyana is seeing, as Barbados have seen, like Trinidad, Grenada, or we can call all of them. I have no fear in calling all of them. Most of them whose their children get educated abroad, stay abroad, they have accounts abroad, and that's what they've done to the Caribbean. They've left most of the country's children in schools, as I heard one of your earlier panelists said, where they are they're still fanning. There's no AC, there's no food, there are no food programs. I mean, we have a government that cut our food programs for the kids by 70%. By 70%.
Wow.
So you have kids coming to school, and literally, as your panel said, they haven't eaten. You have kids who look forward to coming to school just for the meal, because they come from homes that are impoverished, and the parents normally would have sent them happily to school to at least get a couple meals before they come back home. Now they can't even look forward to that. So we are creating a cycle of neglect. I don't want to say poverty, because I do not believe our countries are poor like the politicians want us to believe. I believe it's a mismanagement of resources. It's attention, as someone said, strictly to their 1% financiers, their friends, their families, and it's helpful for the rest of us to catch. Now I know some of us here on the panel might have made our lives and so, but when we decide to advocate for those people that are underprivileged, deprived, disadvantaged, then we feel their pain. We feel their pain, and we understand what they are going through. And that, unfortunately, is the situation in Trinidad and Tobago at the moment. We have lost all right to speak about ourselves as a primary mover in education in the Caribbean, because we have done a serious disservice. As a matter of fact, I think it's criminal how our governments in the Caribbean have neglected the education sector throughout the Caribbean. And unless you have an education system that can raise all ships, then we are going to be behind the rest of the world constantly. And you have to ask ourselves, our governments, is that what they want? Is it done intentionally to keep us behind? Because I mean, it's an easy fix. But I'll leave more for your panelists to say.
Yes, and I love how you ended off your discourse there a while ago. You said you're asking why, and that's what I want to ask Mr. John, and who's she's the Democratic Labour Party spokesperson on education. Mr. John, I'm sitting here listening to Senator NAKHID from Trinidad, and I'm thinking, but why would the governments let's talk about Barbados, because that's where you are at, and you know how much money we've been spent on concrete and bricks and mortar and all kinds of different things that they tell us they're spending, because we talk in the millions, you know. And then when you look and you see the infrastructure of our schools and the condition our schools are in, and then you know, the kind of results we're getting from our children and so on in schools, can you enlighten me, please, on why do you think it is seeming to us that education is not a priority for this government?
Clearly, I think most persons would understand the Democratic Labour Party's approach to education, our policy positions on education, ensuring that we implement food resources for children in school, the various types of intervention that is required. We know for a fact that the Ministry of Education gets over $500 million per year, and at least 100,000 for various schools in terms of maintenance. So the very same question is, where is that money being spent? And where is the accountability and transparency? And these are the kinds of questions that we should ask as taxpayers. We should ask those questions because it's important, because our children, our students are being deprived of an education, a quality kind of education. And I think it's important that we have those kinds of discussions, because it's very unfortunate. And I'm very glad that our panelists highlighted that persons like us can be on a panel and speak. And it's very disappointing that the same persons that are now in government received quality education in their time. So why can't our children, why can't that generation and those generations receive the same kind of quality education? It is unfair to them. It is truly unfair and unfortunate that this administration forgot that they were the same individuals who went to school here and had the quality education. So why can't we do the same for our children? And in some cases, we are getting more funding in terms of budget allocation for various schools. And so it's very important that we understand what is happening. We want the ministry to explain to us what kinds of intervention are they hoping to do for primary, nursery students, secondary school students. We're seeing the various dynamics of students in schools. We get in the reports that young children in primary school levels are already engaging in drug activity. Where are the social workers for our schools? Where are the interventions? So there's so much issues that is plaguing the school system, yet we are having ministers playing games, cat and mouse, with our public, not coming out and speaking out on those issues, not coming out and addressing those fundamental issues. The parents need to know what is going on. They need to know what is happening in the schools for the children, the safety of the children. And I did highlight there are certain schools that I've gone through. There we are fencing all of those playing fields, but we cannot fence the schools adequately.
Wow, so
that the children could be safe.
That earlier, and I didn't catch it because I remember Mr. Thorne was saying they are fencing a lot of places so they can have pets. But then our schools, which should, the fencing is a security, right?
Deplorable. Can you build it's deplorable.
Can you say some more about that for me, please?
No, it's deplorable what I've seen. And you have to understand the children need to be safe in their environment. They need to be safe. And part of that is to have physical security as well. So while we are there fencing all of those playing fields, and I have to say it because I have recognized it and I've seen it for myself. There are a number of schools that the fencing is deplorable. Anyone can walk in and out of the school, anyone. And we can understand what is happening right now within our society, where gun violence and violence can happen and occur anywhere. And I think parents, this is an appeal to parents to recognize what is happening in your child's school. There are some schools the PTA takes sometimes and parents raise funds and they do some of the fencing, but there are some schools, it's deplorable. It's alarming. These are the kinds of questions and concerns that we should have. And let's not forget that there was an instance last year where someone went into the school and violated a young child, a stranger. So what is happening and what I'm observing is that we've had so many concerns, and the ministry to this, they have not addressed them. So we're going to go back in another academic year having to address and speak out on those same issues again. Where is the intervention? Where is the follow-up? It is frustrating for parents. It's frustrating for teachers. Teachers went to school today only to find out that there is industrial cleaning happening at the school. Can you imagine that? We cannot continue in that way. As I said before, our school system is a reflection of this administration. It's incompetence, the lack of care and love for our children. This is what it is. Because if you love our children and you say you love our children, you will not put them in those conditions. And I will maintain that position.
Yes. Others are saying the next time you go to take some pictures.
I do have photos, but I try not to do that. That's why I came out and I spoke on it. But there is a number of photos that I took. It broke my heart. And I really do not want to share the
You know,
photos
the
to
thing
the
about it,
public. But
sometimes just a thought, to
yes,
make each your own, but sometimes, you know,
yes,
we are really too conservative with these things. And if
yes,
they could be
yes. I
bold
think so
enough to
too.
put our children in those conditions, we need to be
Yes,
able
in
to
those
control the
environments.
schools,
No.
as well. Well, let me go to thank you so much, Mr. John, very passionately said. Ms. McAlmont, I want to, do you teach in the primary or the secondary schools?
The secondary schools.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say would have been the results from that you've seen from, you know, the end of year exams and the CXC results, and so on? Do you see, what are you seeing in your, you know, in your school or in the secondary schools as it relates to the academic performance of a number of those students?
I am I am really happy you asked that question because I have been speaking on this matter for the last week. Um, it is evident that our country did not perform like they usually do. Like I did say to you, our teachers were out on strike, unfortunately, for 76 days. Evidently, we saw that that impacted our results. Contrary to the ministry's belief, they're claiming, oh, it didn't have an impact. But yet still, we had in some of the schools 2 children matriculating, which means pass math and English. And we have our country pass rate being on the, I think it's 30 something percent in mathematics, for example. And then the ministry is trying to put a system in place where you're having 8 periods of math being taught per week. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but if you place all the emphasis on math, what is happening with the other subject areas? It means that you will have to decrease the teaching periods for the other subject areas to put that emphasis on math. Let's say, for example, come next year, we have poor performance in English. Will we cut down on math and then use English? Or let's say we have poor performance in 3 other subjects. Will we cut down on other subjects to do that? I'm saying this to say that nobody consults on the way forward to better improve the grades of our students and better improve the conditions in the schools. And I'm saying that consultation is important, and we don't have consultation happening. We have, in my opinion, the minister waking up and deciding that, you know, I have a dream somewhere and this is what I want to implement without properly consulting with people. I'm saying that teachers are the ones on the ground. We know what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Then talk with us. And when you talk with us, we're going to be better able to guide you and help you in implementation. So we had poor performance, if you ask me, this year comparing to last year and the other years. But of course, you will not hear that. You will hear Guyana has done excellent in their performance rate. But if you compare it with other years, definitely you will not see that good performance that they're speaking of. Additionally, we see that our students are, like I said, the strike have affected our students, but we also see that the government is spending monies more on the physical infrastructure of the country and forgetting that people cannot eat roads, people cannot eat infrastructure. And so nutrition for the very students that they're trying to equip is not there, you know? And I would re-emphasize the fact that our children are going hungry. And it breaks my heart every time I say it because uh, as a teacher in the classroom, every time a child tell you that they're hungry, it breaks my heart to see that. And we can boast every opportunity they get. We are the fastest growing economy with hungry mouths because that's all it is, you know?
Yeah. Wow. 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 Wow.
So it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Yes, very. And I could hear the pain in your heart. And, you know, and that the teachers in Trinidad and in Barbados, they do the same. They take the money from their own pockets and try to feed these children while we are paying taxes. And as you said, they're you know, they put in the money in some whatever, I don't know, you know, in other things, and sometimes probably in their pockets, and not taking care of the nation's children. Senator NAKHID, I saw that you had a video and you were talking about the results of the children at the common entrance level. Senator NAKHID, are you still there?
Yes, I'm very much here. I'm very much here. Yes.
Yes. And I want to ask, what are some of the factors? Tell us what your concerns were. What were those results? And what do you think are some of the reasons why the children, you know, this particular year, why they did so poorly?
We had 48% of our students at the common entrance level, we like to say, SCA. We had 48% fail.
48% of the children failed their
Fail at the common entrance level. I mean, if we go back to 2 decades ago, that would be unheard of. But there has been a tremendous decline.
You're walking, Senator NAKHID?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we're hearing you. Yes. You're moving so much; it was hard to watch. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Actually, I have to apologize, but we have a political meeting, and I have to come out of the meeting to, of course.
Yes, that's why I said it looked as though you were walking. Yes, but go ahead, please. Yes.
So we have 48% failure rate at the common entrance level, SCA level, and that doesn't happen by happenstance. That's because of a continuation of a systemic failure, a failure on the part of government to invest properly in education. I mean, we spoke about the functionality of schools, but we also have to speak about how ill-treated our teachers throughout the Caribbean are treated. I mean, we are in 2024, and I can say without fear of contradiction that I am sure across the Caribbean, our teachers are the worst paid probably in the world. I mean, our teachers, they are given little or no incentive to do a good job. And I heard someone allude to that earlier by saying a lot of teachers go abroad to ply their profession. And that's a pity, because when we have our teachers, as a matter of fact, let me present the solution. In a functioning society, in a progressive democracy, teachers must be among the highest paid professions. That is a fact. And that's what happens in what we like to call first world countries. First world countries that we actually made first world countries. I mean, they came here and exploited us and became first world countries. And now they pay teachers in a way that teachers should be paid. So they are invested in the educational system. But here in Trinidad, and I'm sure across the Caribbean, our teachers are so poorly paid, they don't feel invested. They feel divested from the system. And that reflects in how, I mean, we cannot have a culture of mediocrity. So when our teachers are paid mediocre salaries, they are mediocre. They have mediocrity to shoot for. And if that reflects itself on the students, our students become also mediocre students. And that when that happens over time, it becomes a consistent failure. And that has happened in Trinidad and Tobago. So right now, for the last 2-3 years, we have had, yes, about half of our students failing at STA level, and at secondary level, it's not that much better. We are putting 7,000 young boys without into the world on the streets without hope of ever having a meaningful job. So they have to go into the underground economy. I mean, it's a cycle of incompetence by our government. It's a cycle of apathy, of complete non-care. As someone said, these are the same people who benefited from a previously functioning education system. And now they are just thrown our kids to the wolves. And I think, as I said before, we have to start looking at this in a criminal manner. I think we should hold our politicians, our governments who neglect education, who neglect health, as criminally liable. We cannot just talk about it, but we have to have legislation that hold people to account, that and make them criminally liable for forcing our students into a non-ending cycle of poverty and neglect.
Yes, yes, yes. Very, very, very well said. Mr. John, we're coming to the end. We have another 10 minutes. So I want us yeah, we're coming to an end. But this has been quite interesting, Mr. John. I wanted to know from you. You know, we're hearing from the different islands about the standard and the kind of academic performance of the students. I wanted, Barbados is known as, we're supposed to be all the way up there. So let's tell the truth. Let's tell the people the truth. What is it? What's the level of performance, academic performance in Barbados at this time?
Well, based upon the research that we have been doing, and even the minister has acknowledged that our levels are declining in terms of examination. It is declining in maths, we're declining in English, we're declining in reading, and it's a very serious concern. And I'm hoping that the Minister of Education will come out and tell us what kinds of intervention programs that they're hoping to implement. We do understand that they will be hoping to have some intervention for students with various learning challenges, but it's very important that we understand the dynamics at play. This is a government that has been in power regime for the last 6 years with 3 ministers of education, 3. And this is what we're getting at the end of the day, where our children are becoming the consequences of bad policies, bad interactivities within the school system, persons not having the ability to come and communicate openly and frankly to parents and to the general public. And this is what I want the Barbadian populace to understand. The Democratic Labour Party is known for quite a number of things, but one of the things that they are known for is our interest in the education of our people. And that is not going to stop. So we are hoping that these are the kinds of concerns that will be highlighted. What are the kinds of programs that they are hoping to do for students? We do have a national reading program, and I believe that this is something that should come on stream. We're also looking to see whether we can have programs for parents, because parents need the intervention as well. There's a number of young students that, they need help and the parents cannot help them with the areas. And so all of these things, it has to take a community effort, Masir. It cannot just be teachers only. It has to be a community. And until the Barbados Labour Party understands that they're not working for themselves, that they are accountable to the people of Barbados, then they will really need to, step aside and let people do that have an interest in the development of the country. Because it seems that I have been for weeks, parents have been asking about scholarships for the students. The number of universities have already commenced the program, and parents at this point have not heard from the ministry. It is totally disrespectful, Marcia, totally disrespectful. So it also speaks, and I remember the CEO said something, the CEO for education, something that really hit me yesterday. She said that education of children is not only about reading and writing, but teaching them about moral deliberation, what is right and wrong. And my question is, where do we start? Where do we start when you know that what you're doing right now to our children is unethical and it is unjust? Because what would happen, those young persons that are going through this same system within this period of time, it's going to harm them in the next few years. And this is what we're discussing, that we have to stand up for them now, Marcia. We cannot wait any longer. We cannot wait any longer for this government to take education seriously. It is almost as if this ministry is not important. Everything else is given the kind of importance. They're on television, they're speaking about everything else. but not about what is important, which is the education. This is how we're going to develop our future citizens. And if we're not doing it right at this point, Marcia, if we're not doing it right, then we can almost imagine that in the next few years, our society will suffer because of the mismanagement of this government, the incompetence of this government. So we
Yes.
need to hold them accountable. We need to
Yes.
hold them accountable.
Very well said. You know, there's a teacher sent this to me, and you know, and I want to say I want to give a salute out there to the teachers of Barbados and throughout the Caribbean, Trinidad, Guyana. Let's just salute them. But she says, "Good night. Thank you so much for highlighting these school problems. As a teacher, we are muzzled and cannot speak to the media to expose issues. So you are speaking for all of us and the nation's children as well. Only today at our staff meeting, this is Barbados, we were told that we would have to wait to fix our classrooms because they now have to be painted." You think that this is right? So those of you who think that Mr. John is making it up, this is a teacher. That they're now telling them, well, you have to wait because we now have to get the classrooms painted. And we've been off for months. Yet we're expected to have classrooms ready for Monday. The children are coming in on Monday. Another huge problem in schools is that the ministry doesn't provide the materials needed to aid in teaching concepts. Teachers too often have to spend their own money to buy the materials for the classroom. And Mr. Senator NAKHID just talked about how poorly they're paid, right? Ms. McCallman talked about how poorly they're paid, but then they have to dig into their pockets to buy teaching aids because they want them to produce at the end of the year. The children must do well. She said the Media Resource Department at the Ministry of Education in Barbados is supposed to assist teachers with laminating, and this is about a year that they're saying that the laminating machine which laminates charts is not working. KEMAR, the laminating machine to laminate the charts so that the teachers can be effective. And what they do is not working, and your prime minister is going all around, traveling in Apollo. She in Harlem with Marshall Montana from Trinidad, having a good old time, and a laminating machine. Come on, man. Listen, we're closing off this segment, but you know it's really passionate for a lot of us who are parents and educators ourselves. So, Ms. McCallman, what do you want to say, to Caribbean parents, to parents? What should parents do? Seeing that we obviously are sharing the same kind of issues throughout the region, or at least these three countries. What should parents do? What would you say to parents, Ms. McCallman?
Definitely to tell parents it is your responsibility to look after the welfare of your child. And if you see that they are in schools that are dilapidated, if you see that they're in schools, for example, right now in my school, you have 3 people sitting in one bench because there is not enough furniture for the students, it's your responsibility to hold the government accountable. It is your responsibility to speak out on these things. If you see that, for example, that there are schools with fans and there's no electricity in the building, it's your responsibility to speak out, because the thing is, your child is being affected. There are some schools that are labeled the top schools in Guyana, and those are well taken care of. And then they will say to you, oh, why can't you be like this school? But those schools have AC classrooms. My school doesn't have. Those schools have whiteboards. I'm still using chalk. Those schools have access to computers in their classrooms. I don't have that. And so when you ask me why I cannot produce, and most importantly, those schools have the top students, the 1% in the country that you will categorize at NGSA exams, or what we call common entrance exam, but you don't send them to me. You send the ones that can hardly read and write, and I make sure that they have good CXC passes at the end of the day. So when I say to parents, you have to hold the government accountable. Teachers cannot do it alone. We can voice our opinion, and the person rightfully says, teachers are not allowed to speak to the media. And that is a fact all over the Caribbean, even in Guyana. The only reason I'm giving this opportunity because I'm a union representative and I'm there to represent my teachers. I'm there to represent my colleagues. And so that is why I'm giving this opportunity. If I was just a teacher, I want you to know I would have been charged. I want you to know, even in Guyana right now, somebody would have charged me for some cyberbullying or cybercrime because somebody will say, and what I'm saying is not factual. So right now, it is serious every time you tend to speak out. So I'm asking parents, do not leave the responsibility on teachers to speak on behalf of your child only. We will do what we can do, but it is your responsibility to hold the government accountable for your child, because it is in the care of the government that you ensure that your child is there whenever you drop that child off. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Wow. Yes. Oh my goodness. Well said. Senator NAKHID, what do you say to the parents of the Caribbean, Trinidad and the rest of the Caribbean?
Well, I endorse completely what the previous panelist said, that it's up to parents to take the responsibility to hold the government to account. But my caveat to that is that our people in the Caribbean, there's a degree of apathy that has crept upon our people in the Caribbean that was not there previously. And I think when we spoke about why the governments have not paid attention to education, then I think we can speak about that in all spheres of the economy, whether it be education, health, and the economy as a whole. I think these governments, they believe, and I speak especially about this government in Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM. They believe the more they can keep the people oppressed, suffering, they have no time to look forward to hold the government to account. And that's a fact. All all of history will tell you that. When you have people, citizens, worried about putting food on the table 3 times a day, or even once or twice a day, they have no time to hold a government to account. And I think that is especially true of Caribbean governments right now. So they know that. They are very well aware of that. So they have no interest in advancing the citizens of the country. And parents are having a hard time to express themselves. I mean, I have been to protests, and when you ask parents to speak to the situation, they all say the same thing. Well, we don't want to be on camera. We don't want to be victimized by God. Since when have you heard that kind of language from people in the Caribbean, where they are so afraid of being victimized? But unless some parents take control of their own destiny and the destiny of their children, then the governments are going to do exactly what they are doing right now, which is keep oppressing the people, keep misspending taxpayers' money, and they're having a good old time sending their children to prestige schools and boarding schools abroad. So it's up to us. We have to take the revolution by hand, not violently, because they'll talk about NAKHID being violent. So I just say we have to take a revolution without violence and hold these people to account. And the only way we have legally to do that is by constant protests, constant advocacy, and a constant pressure on all governments throughout the Caribbean.
Yes, correct. Mr. Jean, parents, what's your message to parents in Barbados?
I think parents have that fundamental right. Parental rights is equally as important. And I think parents, and I wish to commend parents because parents have been fighting back. Parents have been taking a stance. And it's important that we recognize that the fear is real. This is a society where parents, people do get victimized. People do get victimized for various reasons. And the Democratic Labour Party and the opposition office, we stand with parents, we stand with teachers, we stand with the unions, and we also stand with the civil servants at the Ministry of Education. It's really the policy makers are the ones that are diverting funds where they should not be doing. And so it's important that we remember that we will stand on your behalf. You can reach me at the opposition office or the Democratic Labour Party. My number is 242-7984. Feel free to call me and I will be there to
Repeat your
stand up
number
for
again.
your
Repeat
rights.
your number, Mr. John.
Correct? Sorry?
Could you repeat the number that parents could call you on?
Correct. My number is 242-7984. 242-7984, because we have to stand up for the rights of our children and to ensure that no one, including the state, infringes on those rights. Education is a human right. It is their fundamental rights, and we have to stand up for that for our children. And it also means not only for the infrastructure, the environment, but also the types of the curriculum, the very idea of education reform, and yet we haven't heard anything from the ministry. The lack of communication coming from the ministry, as if they do not have to respond or answer to parents nor the union. This has to stop. It has to stop. So parents, stand up, and we are in support with you.
Yes, thank you so much, panel. People are saying this is an excellent discussion, and I really remember what we said at the start of the show to everybody. Have a little notebook, and you're gonna make your to-do notes. What are you going to do? So this is not entertainment. We're talking about our children here. Let me say a big thank you to Miss McCalmont and to Senator David NAKHID and to Felicia DUJON. Thank you all very much. Very informative. And I can feel your passion. And I'm hoping that we will see change in our education system throughout the Caribbean. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms. McCalmont. Wow. Wow. It's a mouthful. And I could see that the phone lines, there's somebody I know was calling, so let me try to get them back on the line and hoping that this time around that we can actually hear you properly. When you call, I'm going to ask you to please turn off the device that you're watching on, okay? We are calling. We're going to talk about 84.6 million that is missing. And we want to talk about our schools that are not ready. We want to hear from you, okay? This is not just something you sit back and you eat popcorn. You know, we're doing this thing together. So let's welcome our caller. Good night, caller.
Yes, good night.
Let me check if they can hear, because we were having trouble last night. Can you let me know, guys? Can you hear, viewers? Can you hear?
Hello?
Yes. Okay, go right ahead. Nobody's answering, so I guess they're hearing. Okay, go right ahead.
Right. What I realize is that it seems to have a similarity of both caste system, racism, classism, and elitism going on right through the Caribbean as it relates to the whole education system. And what the proof of that is persons that are in governmental sector, who many of them, even though they may all
Right, they're saying you're sounding low. Is your phone turned up all the way? Because mine is all the way up and he's already on speaker. All right, so mine is turned all the way up. Let me do that again. And I'm not sure why this is happening now. Okay, go ahead again. Let's try again.
Right, I was saying that there seems to be measures of caste system, elitism, racism as well, and I said classism already, throughout the education system in some parts of the Caribbean. And the only way to stop that is to acknowledge that both teachers and students alike are suffering. I have from 2010 and before, actually, I'm very close to a lot of teachers, and a lot of them agonize that they can't even talk to some children, because a lot of the children, sometimes they have some parents who may be more like, in more or less gangsterism kind of style. And as you speak to the child, it's almost as if that the teachers feel that they're in danger. And this is not being addressed. I can call schools names. I wouldn't do that, but many teachers in Barbados face that situation, and I even follow some how should I say, not even call them influencers, but people that do research on the ground in Guyana and other places. And the similar situation is in the Caribbean too. So when you see over the last 10 to probably 20 years that these situations are addressed, where you have some schools where the environs are so, people say in Barbados, pop down, as the saying goes, anybody can walk off the street and come in at any time of the day. As it relates to even at night, it doesn't all go well for a conducive environment for I mean, let's be real. Harrison College is one I would call for if I have to call names. The security there, Harrison College, I would say, try its best as it relates to the manicuring of the cricket field and this and that and the third. I think similar situation for North School. But what I'm trying to say is that a situation like that should be across the board, as opposed to some schools you can just walk on, and then other schools could be gangsterism atmospheres at night and spaces for teaching in the day. And you can't have that when you have ministerial persons who would have had immaculate elementary school life and even up to tertiary life. So it can't be Animal Farm in Barbados and throughout the Caribbean. Even as it relates to projects, you're talking about 84 million, but the situation is similar in Guyana as it relates to the roads, where one road would be done well, and then other roads are roughshod. So this situation mirrors throughout the Caribbean.
Yes, so correct, I'm going to ask Dave to put the link as well. If Dave can help me to put the link in the chat, and you can use a link to come in. Those who can come in, who can call, because we want to hear what it is that you are saying. Okay, thank you so much, caller, for calling. Thank you. Yes, thanks. And so he was talking about the classism that is happening, and if it is that you want to come into the yes, you can join. There's somebody want to know if they can join. Just give me a moment, guys, and because I want to hear from you. This is our thing that we're doing together, right? And so this is not. I don't want it to be you're feel like you're a spectator. All right, so you can come in to the studio. Okay, you can try to come in. I know for some people that is difficult, which is why we have people calling in. And if Dave can help me put the link there. Okay, this computer now. Oh, wow. I'm having a little challenge here. Can't see the comment section anymore. Come on now. Yes, different schools get treated differently, right? Different schools get treated differently. All right. So you can call in, or you can come in on the StreamYard link. Thank you for those who gave the suggestion of putting the phone at the side. I'm doing all of that. Whatever you suggest, I'm going to try to get it done so that you can hear. Someone is asking here, is vandalism a major problem with school infrastructure? And I know that for some schools, they have that kind of issue, because especially when you have a situation where, there's no security, they don't have fencing. And these are real questions that you have to ask parents, because one of the things that they've been doing is putting up fencing, fence around all of these playing fields and so on. And I heard Mr. Thorne talking about that. He was the first one I heard mention that, and that, he's wondering, are they doing this so that they can, it works for vets. And so if that is what it is, then we can see where the attention of where the priority of our government is, right? Fence, yes, fence for vets instead of fencing our schools. Yeah. And so you can come on. Those of you who want to call in, you can call in. I really don't want to. I want to hear from you. This is the link. The link is right there that you can use to come in. Or you can once again, you can try to call, and hopefully we are going to be able to hear you. What are your views about that money that we're asking the government about? What are your views about that? And what are your views about what we're hearing, concerning the schools? I'm just checking here, guys. Give me a moment. Are you making your to-do list? What do you have on your to-do list? What are you going to do tomorrow? I know on the top of it should be vote them out. The number one on the list should be vote them out. Every time you make your to-do list of Barbados, number one, vote them out is number one. Okay? But what else do you have on that to-do list? Now, somebody raised a point here, and and it's the second time I'm hearing it for the evening, because they were discussing on the radio about the school's preparedness in Barbados, and someone said to me, Marcia, could it be that they are trying to let the schools run amok so that they can push the privatization of schools in Barbados? And I came on here and I saw that someone else had that and said, are they doing this to force privatization? They are deliberately mashing up the schools. Because when you can have a whole 4 months and you still have leaking schools, you still are telling teachers teachers are in school this week. And I don't know if they expect the teachers to take the paintbrushes to paint the schools, to paint the classrooms, after they're hardly paying them. Are they trying to push us towards privatization of our schools? Is it what Errol Barrow fought for? Or is it that and all the work that was done before by Errol Barrow, Grantley Adams, and all of them? All of that is going to go to waste? And because we're to allow this setting here to mash it up? I am so glad Mr. Thorne said when it comes on to education, not over his dead body. And I'm going to hold Mr. Thorne to that. Mr. Thorne said, when it comes on to education, it won't happen on my watch. Go back and listen to what he said. But let's bring in, I see Adrian Bascom here. Good night, Mr. Bascom. How are you?
Good night to you, Marcia. And as usual, you're doing a fantastic show, as usual. And good night to all on Sundry. Good night to all. Good night to the loyal opposition. Let's keep the pressure on.
Yes,
I hear you talking about, and I see that the topic is the usual topic that I, of myself, and others hit hard all the time. Where is the money? Where is our hard-earned taxpayers' money really going to? It's not enough transparency. And the topic of education, and you can guide me on the topic that you're dealing with. I crave your indulgence, Marcia. You would have seen that you would have gone, if you would have read, I sent something to you to read that you would have gotten a full comprehensive view of the regional results back from the exams. But Barbados, this has been 2 weeks now, going on into 3, that you have not, that the parents and the students here and some of the teachers here have not gotten the actual, don't really know the actual results here for their children. Guyana put out theirs, Jamaica put out theirs, and they're slightly bigger, but they got theirs out in time. What is the hideout that the Ministry of Education continues to do? And you need to hear the minister herself come out and give us some kind of update. People want transparency. People want to know what's going on with their children. You know, and I see 1 or 2 schools that aren't ready yet.
Actually, let me read, Adriana, you brought up, Mr. Bascom, a very important point here.
You call me Adrian, man. You're going to get all that. Adrian is fine.
This is Paula Porter, and she is an advocate for students and parents. And she said, we are very disappointed that as of the 5th of September, the Barbados public has yet to hear from the Ministry of Education, read a national report and analysis of the 2024 CXC results. More than 2 weeks after their regional release by and report from the CXC. Guyana released their national report on the 20th of August, the same day that CXC released theirs. Trinidad and Tobago the next day. Jamaica within a week, as well as announcing their national academic scholarship winners. But as you're rightly saying, not for Barbados. Why? Do we have a whole ministry there? Why? Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, that's the big question. That's the big question that needs to be answered. And you can continue to put enormous amount of pressure on them. You see, these people here have people that can defend them and block you from trying to answer the pertinent questions that you want. And you know, it is serious, and we want the answers. So what are you really doing? School is starting back soon, and you know, you need to have some kind of answers, something substantive that at least the parents will feel a bit okay, the students' minds will be at ease. You know, you need to have answers, and I submit to you that, you know, like
in this particular case, Adriana, in this particular case, it's not that the parents don't have the results. What Miss Paula Porter, I think that's her name. I should know her name. What she's saying is that the analysis, how many, you know, scholarship winners, how did we do as a country? The analysis is not presented, and you're going to tell me
no, it's not.
Of the educated people we have at the ministry, it's not out yet. Are they hiding something? What are they hiding?
Well, I would love to know what they're hiding. I believe they're hiding something. I believe that they don't want people to know the actual analysis that we seek. And that is why I'm glad that lady put them in the spotlight, because how much longer shall we wait? How much longer should we wait? And this is not the first rodeo that the Ministry of Education has gone into hot water about this. You know, there have been other instances, you know, of past exams, past analysis that up to now we ain't get yet. This is 2024, mind you. You understand? The previous minister of MP of Education, who is now the deputy PM, did the same thing, did even worse. So, you know, you have to wonder what's really going on, you know. So hopefully, you know, with the marches, and this is why it's important, people, and Miss Weeks will tell you, we need to keep marching, and I hope that we will march regular, because our children's future is important. Our children's educational future is important. If we are to lay a foundation for them, we have to have people that supposedly working on the behalf of us, because this administration doesn't seem to get it. They work for us. We don't work for them. They come to us, they want our vote. So they need to do what we tell them to do and not what they like. Because what they're doing is not satisfying us. It doesn't matter who is in office. One rule goes for all.
for all. Thank you so much, Adriana. Thank you. God bless. Thank you very much.
God bless. Have a good night.
Yes. Yes. Someone wrote here, Marcia, this country is being destroyed so that it can be rebuilt for the selected few. There has to be some plan. I don't know. Somebody might say it's conspiracy theory, but when I spoke to somebody today of the condition of the hospital and their experience there, I had to say to myself, it seems like they are really trying to destroy the social structure and the social services so that they could be privatized. Am I thinking wrong here? And this person is agreeing, says it is being destroyed so that it can be rebuilt for a selected few. It is called organized chaos. The ministry of any country's health, the mainstay of any country's health, education, sanitation, water, infrastructure, etc., all is being destroyed. All of our social services. Can you point to one social service in Barbados that you say, yes, man, that is good? They're all being destroyed. And then when you think of how much money is passing through, it would be one thing if the prime minister said, well, we were trying to borrow some money and we didn't get it. Anytime it seems like she borrows money, she gets it. But we're not seeing it being put to our social services. Education being one. Why wouldn't that be a priority? Why 4 months and we're still, just a piece of equipment? How much is that? A piece of equipment to laminate the charts and etc. for the teachers. It's been down from last year to now, and you're traveling on planes all around the place? Huh? No, man, somebody need to clip your wings. Your wings need to clip. The flying about the place need to stop. Because I'm guaranteeing you that probably half or quarter of what it takes you to fly around the place with all of your entourage, we could buy that little equipment for the teachers and paint up the classrooms, etc. Huh? Right? We probably could give one to each school instead of having one at the ministry for all the teachers to use. And you flying about on plane. I tell you, call the election and you're going to see we clip your wings. Huh? Miss Birdie, that flying all over the place, your wings going to clip. Huh. Okay, so we have a call here. I believe was coming in. Okay, let me see if we can hear this caller. Caller, remember to turn down. Listen to me. That machine, see another teacher saying that the machine was down. You see, it's not the teacher not telling lies. The machine was down for over a year. You see that?
Yeah. Yes.
Let's see if we can hear you. Turn up your phone all the way up and speak as loud as you can. Welcome to the Marcia Wee Show.
Good night, President, everyone. My name is Toriel.
Hey, Taroni.
The very disturbing thing about this year is we don't want to destroy the education system in Barbados. I feel it's like so that the people could gain more education than they already poor people, so that they could be still poor people once again. Because what they try to do is destroy our foundation, free education for our poor people. So I feel the agenda of
they said it's very low. They can't hear you. It's very low, barely. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to send you the link and you come in on the link. Okay, this is not working. Okay, I'm going to send you the link. Okay, so let me send. Yes, I did that, victorious lady. I did place my phone to the side of the mic because that come in, and my phone is also on speaker. All right, just saying, it is also on speaker. I think something might be wrong with my speaker, my phone speaker, but it's also on speaker. Okay, I'm going to send him the link, and anybody else who wants to come on. I think there was somebody else was calling. and I'm going to send I'm going to send you a link for you to click the link and so on. Okay, what we're going to do, I'm going to see if we can work something where the phone is put to and is amplified, and so that you can hear it. So I'm going to try that for Wednesday. Okay, we're going to try to do better, but this is the system that I have at the moment. Okay, so bear with me. We're going to work at it and make sure that it's better for Wednesday. I promise you. But in the meantime, please take the link. If you want the link, message me and come in for the link, right? Okay. Okay. All right. Somebody's in. Somebody is in. Okay. So this is okay. Somebody send me. Oh my Lord. What is going on here? Let me send this to Dave. We're here talking about education. Don't go, guys. Don't go. We're here talking about education, and then look at what is happening at QH. Remember talking about the social services? Look at this. Let me send this to Dave, because I'm telling you, this lady, she's a mash up. And it's not even mash up and buyback. She just mash up. Full stop. Yeah? So Dave, I'm sending you something here that somebody just sent me that is happening, right? Dave, check your WhatsApp and you will see something that I put there. Someone is in, but you have to turn on your devices, okay? The devices are not turned on. And you can, if you would like to come into the, please send me a message and I can send you the link. Okay? Okay. All right. Okay, so bear with me, guys. Bear with me, guys. We're doing a show on a budget, a small budget, no budget show. All right. So we don't have the mic situation yet worked out. So you're saying to face the phone to the mic? Yeah, but that's what I was doing. So which direction you mean? Like this? I put the phone to the mic. That's it. I'm putting the phone to the mic. Is that Mr. Seeley, Trevor Seeley, telling me what to do? I must put the phone to the mic. You mean the front of the phone? You mean the front of the phone, you're saying? Like this? Okay, let me know. Let me know what you're saying, okay? Now, back to this. I'm thinking about this lamination. Anybody, listen, folks, somebody go and research and tell me how much it is for a laminating equipment, an equipment to laminate that has been down at the Ministry of Education for over a year. KEMAR. Is it true that there's a laminating equipment that works at the schools in Barbados that has been done for a year? Is that true? How will the teachers get their charts and so on? They're supposed to buy it out of their own money, the money that you're not giving to them, the government not giving to them, the little bit of pay that they're getting. These are the things we need to hold them accountable for. KEMAR, come out and tell us about the equipment. You are all hiding behind this this person that you call now that is a communication specialist. You all hide behind, right? After all you've done, the people's children in this country, with the sex test and all of the things that you're doing, like people running with machete on the children, all of that. At a minimum, you should make sure that they actually have the equipment. Huh? So I'm hearing that the video I have on here is not Barbados. There's a nurse telling us it's not Barbados. So Dave, let's hold it to verify. Someone told me it was Barbados. So let's hold it. And there's a nurse saying that it's not Barbados. So we don't want to thank you so much to that person who said that, but it was said to be QEH. So we will double check on that. Right? K. McConney. K. McConney, where is the analysis? K. McConney. You can hide and come out and talking snuffy in your nose all you want. Huh? We want to know where's the analysis of the children of the results, the CXC results. All the other islands that are larger than Barbados, they've done theirs already. You see what we're saying? This is how the mismanagement is. This is what we're talking about. All the larger countries have done it already, except Barbados. Yes, it's a commercial laminator that can do large jobs, but I am almost sure it don't cost $1 million. And if we should ever start to get a financial breakdown of each of these trips, right? With all of the trips that they make, we should be able to pay for this pay for the commercial laminator many times over. Yes, tell her I'm calling her name. K. McConney, why the schools are not ready? What were you doing over the last 4 months? Where is the analysis of the exams? Why aren't the scholarship winners announced? Yes, some of them they've gotten letters, but you are so late with it. What's going to happen is that those students have to start school without the money. That happened to my son. Rich people, children who get scholarship and exhibitions, they don't need it. But people like me, my son got one of those, and it took him almost a whole year before you guys process it. This is not acceptable. Now I'm hearing that somebody says here. Somebody says that they work at the community, some community thing, and they're saying that they are fencing. Yes, they're fencing all the community center. All the community centers are fenced in, and not the schools. Do you understand in terms of priority? Not the primary schools with the little children in. We had a situation last, Ramona Archer. We had a situation where someone walked off the street and go in the thing and go in the classroom and rape a 12-year-old child in the schools in Barbados here. But you have gone and you are fencing up all the community centers because you want to hold fetes, right? And can pay for people to be able to come in. Fet. Right? As you said, Tamika, we won't get the breakdown of the trips. And is I'm seeing somebody putting this up here. But is this, they said it's a commercial one that is needed, a commercial laminator. And this is commercial, but for one classroom it's 1,749 for one school. Ask the Prime Minister, how much is one trip? How much is she one trip? How much do we pay? How did we pay for her to go to Marshall, Montana? To go and watch him perform in Harlem? Did we pay for that? And how much did we pay? Ask her. In this day and age, we should not have one laminator up at the video the center there. What's it called? The MRD. Can't remember we should not have one a commercial laminator for one that serves all the schools. In this day and age, we paid Marshall $250,000, $125,000. Do the math for me, everybody. Let's do the math. 125,000. This is what we paid Marshall, okay? When he was here. 125,000. US, 250,000, right? And we divide that by 1,749. We could have bought 71 lamination machine or kits for schools in Barbados. Correct. $250,000 could buy 71. And that's what we paid Marshall, Montana. And that's why I'm saying that we do not, our priorities, we are not, we're just doing things. We're focused, we spend the money on the fets and the parties. We could buy 71. Right? Most, I know that at least 20 secondary schools could have, and the primary schools, even if you give it per district or parish or something. Yes, Judy Jelk saying that the money that they're using to fet should use on the fence of the school, not the playing fields. Right? Can you imagine? Yeah. I want to ask, what is on your to-do list tonight as we are getting ready to close? We're 8 minutes. I promise you I'm going to get this calling thing organized because I want to hear from you. What's on your to-do list? Remember, I told you it's not a joke thing. What is on there? You heard from KEMAR tonight. You heard about education tonight. What's on your to-do list? The first thing is to vote them out. And I want you to remember that if the cybercrime bill that they're putting forward are trying to pass, if that happened, KEMAR could not speak the way he spoke tonight. Do you know that? Because all Wilfred Abrams needs to say is that he had, he was anxious, that it brought him anxiety. I'm here calling out Kay McConney's name and Ramona Archer's name. And they could just say that they felt intimidated. You see what I'm saying? It will be a Barbados that we would never be able to recognize. What is on your to-do list? What are you going to do? I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working on the community outreach tomorrow. We're back on that. We are also getting ready to put out a cybercrime video, that when you see that video, if everybody, when you see the video, you share it, it will go viral. We need your help. Anytime you see the video comes up, we ask you to share it. You will see a new cybercrime video that we're going to put out. Share it. Okay? Share it, share it, share it. All right? Vote them out. Vote them out. Correct, Kim? Vote them out. Diaspora, those of you in the diaspora, what are you going to do? We don't want to be on here just complaining. We need action. We've got to do something. Can you write? Write. Write a letter. Write to your MPs. Remember what we said? Write to your MPs. Flood their email with letters. Confront them the same way they come at your house and bothering you for votes. Bother them. Be a nuisance. Bother them. That's right. FX Trading says, I will be writing to my MP to ask for a status report on the South Coast sewage system permanent outfall project and the 84.6 million approved spent. Some people are going to talk to them about the cybercrime bill. Yeah, it's a lot of things. We have a lot that we have to ask about. Ask for accountability. Those of you in the diaspora, and you can write as well. You're Barbadians as well. Somebody wrote this. To send a minister up to Japan or Dubai, the airfare is 40,000 first class. I'm sick of these people. Aren't you sick of them? It's almost like money is water to them. And the only problem is that we're not seeing any of the money not coming down to any of our children. Somebody sent this to me. And it has nothing to do either with per diem. Also, the money is paid to the minister. So you're telling me I won't call this out because I need to double check it myself. So there is a minister that they're booking the flights with? Oh, what is here? Lord of mercy. What a collusion. There is apparently, it's being alleged that there is a minister that the money is being paid to book these flights. So they're circling the money around among themselves. No wonder they can't speak on them speak out about anything. I am saying here they're alleging that a flight to Dubai is 40,000 first class. And has nothing to do with per diem. And there is a minister that has a travel agency. Oh, Lord. There is a minister that has a travel agency that they are booking the flights through. You see these criminals? If this is true, I want to see that minister come anywhere near my house. I told you already that man is a waste man. That minister that have the travel agency, if this is true, my God. But regardless of whether they're doing that, I know I live in this constituency and I can tell you that minister is a waste man. I've been telling you all that for years. You believe that? This is what is happening. You see why I tell you, when you come on here, when we come on here, folks, we're not here for entertainment. We are here to deliver a nation. You understand? We're like Moses. We're here to deliver a nation. And that's why I said, will we stop the disunity, please? Will we stop pitting each other, people against each other? Oh, you know, oh, that show gonna mash up. No, Caswell not coming back. Because almost like you're wishing for it to mash up. Can we stop the disunity? Can we stop saying, oh, someone put on there, KEMAR came out, oh, KEMAR should be the leader of the opposition. Could you stop that nonsense? Can we stop it? We have too much to deal with. KEMAR is doing his job. Mr. Thorne is doing his job. I am doing my job. Caswell is doing his. Lumumba is doing his. Bongo is doing his. Fred is doing his. Will we stop it? We have too much. Look at all we're dealing with. Huh? Look at all we're dealing with, and we're going to come on here and think, no, we tag team. We're a team. And I keep telling you, as long as I'm sitting here, Dr. Ferdinand was supposed to be on tonight, but he had an emergency situation and I had to jump in. That's how it is. I was there laying down, relaxing tonight. Because Dr. Ferdinand is going to take Mondays. That is what's supposed to happen. Excuse me. I had to jump in. Because we're not going to let it fall apart. And that's how I want you to deal with it as well. Okay? So, folks, what's here to do? I know what I'm doing for Barbados tomorrow. I know what I'm doing for Barbados tomorrow. The question is, what is it that you are doing for Barbados tomorrow? What are you doing for Barbados tomorrow that you can tick off? You should have 3 or 4 things on that list. Yes? Yes. Folks, let me say a pleasant good night to you all. And I know we were fiery tonight because I don't want us to get into a lull. I don't want us to be sitting down and eating popcorn and put up on the, windowsill, and you just, you're waiting for casual jokes and you're waiting for this and yes, it might be funny. It might be funny, but we need to work. By Wednesday, God willing, I should have the details on the community that we're going to be going in today. I spent the time working on CyberCrime Bill and the show today, calling all those people, making sure that they were on tonight because you have to produce the show. So we had to do a lot of that work today, but I'm going to be back on the crime situation tomorrow. Okay, so folks, somebody wanted us to play Cross the Floor, right? Thanks to the person who did up this flyer for us. When you see the flyer out, you please pass it around. This flyer, no to CyberCrime Bill, no to CCB, no to BLP. When you see it, pass it around. Don't be afraid. They can't do a thing to you. Not a thing. Okay? Yes. All right. Somebody wants us to play Cross the Floor. David's not Barbados, I'm told. Okay. So let's play Cross the Floor. Somebody's asking for Cross the Floor. Cross the Floor is coming up. Cross the Floor is coming up. Somebody said we should have some t-shirts. You're correct. Do you want to organize that? Can you organize that? It don't mean that you have to pay for it, but organize. What is the cost? What is, all of that. Let's do it together.
Dancers, come forward, walk out. This one I got worldwide.
Just days after former government backbencher Ralph Thorne crossed the floor, he's taken the oath of office as leader of the opposition.
Cross the floor, let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne. On the other side, cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor, let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Wait there, Ralph Thorne. Dancing, come back again. Our turn is the latest trend. Everybody know link up a friend. This one designed to be
and more will be left over.
Dancing, come back again. Our turn is the latest.
Are these trips so important?
Link up a friend. This one designed to be living our men.
Yes, I'm for real, member. I am for real. Don't let me talk out your business. Don't let me talk out your business. All right.
And I can't decide, so I'm moving with the die. Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. So let me do this now. Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. Yes, yes. And let me go now. Cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor. Let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne. On the other side, cross the floor.
There has to be some order here.
Cross the floor, let me do it some more like Ralph.
The Minister of Finance is not party to this present transaction, Your Honor. Ask him to keep quiet, please. And I say to you further, Mr. Speaker, that my conscience, my location here is related to my conscience. I said it last year. It is well with my soul.
Take a wine on the left side, and I can't decide, so I'm moving with the tide, moving with the tide. Take a wine on the right side, take a wine on the left side, and I can't decide, so I'm moving with the tide. Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. So let me do this now. Cause I'm ready to mash up the body. Oh gosh, I can mash up the body. Yeah, yeah. And let me go now. Cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor. Let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne. On the other side, cross the floor, cross the floor, cross the floor. Let me do it some more like Ralph Thorne. Ralph Thorne.
That is my man. So whether he cross or in cross, he will always be there for us.
I came to a point where I had to take the decision that if my philosophical and political views do not accord with those of government in terms of its legislation, in terms of its policy, the relationship becomes untenable.
Wonderful, 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 wonderful. Guys, thank you all so very much. And may we have a good night. Sleep well, sleep well, sleep well. And we're going to see you again on Wednesday. Tomorrow night, we're going to show the actual walk. The solemn walk will be carried on the program tomorrow night. Okay, God bless you. Sleep well. Bye-bye. Love you all. Mwah.